Hello, ladies and gents, for the people on YouTube and you also SpectreWolf. This vote is for you, of course, so you don't feel like you waste anything or you need to dig in Twitch to find it. SpectreWolf is the Leona support. This is a Silver 2 game. He's asking for tips on what he can do better. Let's start off with your runes, brother. Start off with your runes. So you have armor MR, standard, 1 AP, standard. Okay. You have Triumph and Coup de Grace. I think this is questionable. Especially in a lane like this, you want to run Hex Slash most of the time. Hex Slash is very strong. Hex Slash and then just Cosmic Insight, or Hex Slash and Biscuits also works if you feel like you are using a lot of mana. It's a preference thing, because if you are comboing in perma, then you can go. Keep in mind that the main thing, like when you're playing Leona-Caitlyn, like it's not the best lane because it doesn't synergize too well, but you always need to be in proximity of, like if you want to trap on your EQ, it is very important that Caitlyn is in range. Okay, let's take a look. You are doing bushy. I'm not sure what the thought process is here. Usually you want to stay grouped with your team. I don't know how to use Hex Slash properly, then just go into a game and practice. It's very worth it. Here you should stick together with your team, because if someone face checked here, it wouldn't be meaningless, and someone face checking here, it would be meaningless. The reason you're standing here is because you want to one-shot someone when they face check, right? So always stick together. Don't make the rubber band break. It's very important. 1 second, I'm just gonna remove this so I lag less. Okay. Okay. Also, this ward is also not so important, especially in lower ranks. Like if Graves is going to invade Jarvan here, then he's just being silly. And also here, when you took the aggro, you went very close to the blue. You took the aggro of the blue many times, and you see here when you're juggling aggro, the threat of the golem is kind of resetting, and then here Jarvan of course needs to smite, but this is a bit of a disaster. And then this ward is not so meaningful. Like this ward is good if you're camping here and waiting for them or something like this. So you can find ways to cheese. Cheesing bot is usually the best way to win solo queue. Like you just camp on bush, or you camp here, you ward here, you camp here, and then the moment they face check you, you just fight them. It's better to do with the dual queue partner than everything. Java is giving me aggro for unknown reasons. Or you need to base your movement on his movement. Because he's kiting it, so he tanks it less, you know, between the autos. Okay, there's nothing out of the ordinary. Kate needs to hit more. Brand also needs to hit more. They need to contest push, because level 1 you're very weak. You can also consider going second wind instead of bone plating. It's hard to find value with bone plating. Here, Caitlyn shouldn't walk up. She's not losing any CS, so she can just wait. You guys, level 1 is very not so strong. So here, Kate is just taking way too much damage. That she's if you take a look at her movement, she's losing absolutely nothing. Here, you guys, naturally you're going to lose the push. Here, the moment Brand walks up, she should already be in this position. She shouldn't be walking downwards, because this already, she has to eat a W if Brand is good. What you can do as well, you can begin to walk up here, and you can try to bait the Brand to W the creeps, because you trading HP is not that bad. Like if you take 1 W, your health regen is going to compensate. So here, the moment Caitlyn walks down like this, to compensate for her mistake, you can also walk down and walk into Brand. And as Kate walks up here, you can look to find the Q on Brand. Basically, ideally, what you want to do is, Caitlyn and Leona, you just stay inside of the creeps. You stay inside of the creeps, and if they hit the creeps, it means that they are pushing faster. And if they're pushing faster, Um, if they're pushing faster, the better it is. You know, do you want the wave to crash? Level 1, you're weaker. So this is always what you need to consider. Level 1, your strength. Do you have to give up the push? If the enemy is playing bad, can you get the push? Because if you get level 2 first, then it's super strong for Leona. So if you notice them not contesting the wave properly, then you can also look to find level 2 first by finding the push. But here, the moment Caitlyn walked up this far, you can look to also hover. Because keep in mind, if you're standing inside of the creeps, as you can see here, when you auto-attack you, all of the creeps are chasing, right? All of these creeps are chasing. So if you're standing inside of the creeps, then you're fine, you know, you're fine. He's taking aggro, and as these creeps are chasing the brand, these creeps are still hitting these creeps. So it means that you're going to push even harder, right? So we start off with here. And then here, Caitlyn is losing nothing here. She has no reason to walk up. No creeps are dying. You can see the creeps are not dying. So as long as that's the case, she has no reason to walk up. She's in no minion range at all. So here definitely you can look to walk, like she should just walk backwards. You know? It's very painless to walk backwards. She should not be doing this. So here she took a lot of damage. The lane is pretty much lost here. This is something that the jungler needs to repair. Graves started red into top side. He's doing a very wonky clear. He's playing very weird. So I can't help you in terms of judging what junglers are. But usually I've noticed the trend in silver is that if they start red, the next time they show up on bottom is around 5 minutes. It takes them very long to come back. Here is the same, right? It's just you guys are in trouble because of her HP. And if anything, what you can do is, when Jinx was positioned like this, maybe you can look to hit the brand. The only thing that will make you come back in this lane is if you find opportunities. So basically you want to think in a way like, look for their fuck-ups pretty much. So here, okay. That's alright, this one you need to help with. That one is a rip. Here you can punch this one with the Q, and then Kate can take it. Here Caitlyn should just base. I think it's really doomed. Or she can wait for the next cannon, but it's so long. Here if your E hit, then most likely you will die. So this is not a good one. This is not a good E. So basically the enemy's mistake here is that they're auto-pushing. To punish Caitlyn, they should look to bounce the wave, and just when the wave is crashing here, they should look to let it slow push. Meaning last it very deep and then wait for the next wave to crash, and then just punish. So pretty much their goal is to bounce the wave, make it freeze, and then just force a base out of Kate. Here ideally Caitlyn recalls. It's the best possible scenario for her to recall. Brand got the cancel. That's a good move. Very nice. Good punish. You get the kill. Very nice. If I was Caitlyn here, I would look to stay. She should eat the biscuit. Otherwise, Kate should have just looked to base on the cannon, you know? So yeah, Jarvan shouldn't be fighting in the river. Bottom is in shambles. You had this tiny opportunity there to potentially push out, but now with Graves killing Jarvan, it becomes even more difficult, and you have to wait till next cannon again, which is in 2 waves. Or yeah. Okay, you go here, but you should be dead anyway. So yeah, still, you have a problem because Graves is behind you, and here if Jinx puts her traps properly, then it would be even worse. But here you just die. It's once again the same. Caitlyn needs to look to base. and you guys don't have enough power to one-shot the Jinx. It's just Jinx Caitlyn is a very weak lane, honestly. You guys want to do two completely different things. You want to do two completely different things, and you could consider that as well when you pick Leona, right? Caitlyn is not that great. Thought Jinx was alone. Okay. The back timer on Brand. So here Caitlyn should have based. This was the time to base. Brand screwed up because the wave is frozen now. He hit the creeps. So I think this pushes towards Kate. Kate should have been base a long time ago. Javan smurfing. One auto. Javan level 4. Riven's level 6. Imagine playing Riven and Silver. How cocky are you? Okay. And let's continue with you. Here I bought double cloth armor. Keep in mind that there's a lot of magic damage in this lane, so these cloth armors are not that useful. You should consider just buying a ruby crystal, especially in a lane that is so mixed damage. Here Brand does majority of the damage. For example, when you died, Jinx traps are also magic damage, and it is better to just either complete boots, buy Mobies, and accept that this lane is kind of hard, and look to find impact on mid lane with the Aurelion Soul that has no flash. That's one way to view it. Or you buy a Ruby Crystal if you want to salvage the lane. But looking at the position in the game, the fact that you're laning with the Kate, the fact that Caitlyn is also not basing, I would go the Moby Boots approach and look to just find opportunities to roam against Aurelion Soul as much as possible. I think in this elo, especially, like the Jinx and Brand will constantly shove waves into the Kate, and as long as you hide and you don't show, for example, if you're hiding here, if you're in fog in this space, and you're threatening that you're bottom, I think the odds of Jinx and Brand diving is very, very low. So basically, always when you're playing support in solo queue, is you have two approaches, right? Are you playing to win the lane, or you're playing to, or is the lane just over, right? Cloth armor is not the best buy. You just want to, for lane, Ruby Crystal. For outer lane, you use just buy Moby Boots. So I like the Moby Boots purchase here the most, because it's just better. Even Moby Boots is not that bad for lane, right? Because you can dodge spells and you can look to find all-ins. So we continue. So you chase after Brandini, but Caitlyn is not coming with you. Looking for that solo kill. Okay. You will win most games by finding opportunities to roam. So here Caitlyn is very screwed. So the wave position here is terrible. It's slow pushing towards the enemy, and she needs a base. So in competitive, people would say that this is game boom for Kate. So here if Jinx and Brand are smart, they just kind of what's it called? They just let it freeze. You're doing some cheeky moves here. You're waiting for Jarvan. This is a moment where you should ping Jarvan, definitely. I don't hear any pinging, and you should definitely ping Jarvan, because this is an opportunity for you guys to get kills with your position. So if Jarvan, you pinged him to come, or told him to come, this was the way, you know? Maybe you would realize, but now you're in trouble instead. Because you should be dead because you flashed earlier. But maybe you survive. Okay, Jinx walks into a trap, so God bless her soul. And it works. Okay. You're a genius, my friend. Okay. So yeah, the lane is very bad. This you want to push in. This is bad because it's freezing, right? This is freezing. So basically the lane states that you need to know is always what the freeze is. Honestly, you'll be fine just knowing that. This right here, if the wave is frozen here, it means these creeps will die and the next wave will also die, and the position will be very awkward. Because moving into this space always puts you in danger. So the way everyone always controls a map space and thinks about map space is this is your side of the map, the enemy side of the map. If you're on your side of the map, you are not in danger of getting ganked. If you're on the enemy side of getting of the map, you're in danger of getting ganked. Of course, there are exceptions. You can get dove and so forth, but let's say pretend there's a world where you can't get dove. Right now, when you're going to walk into lane, you'll have to break the freeze, because otherwise these creeps will just roll into this meat grinder of a wave. Okay, this wave is like a meat grinder. This is this is basically the creeps that are coming just die over and over. And right now, just because you base, this will die and the next wave will also be at a very similar time. And then you'll have to take a risk to push in, because the enemy can take such a position, they can find ganks at you, they can prepare, because your next move will be very predictable, right? So in this case, you want to push in, you want to make the wave bounce. When the wave crashes into the tower, it's going to slow push towards you. And that means, a slow push means that a wave is building. A wave is building, and with that in mind, you're not losing that many CS, right? But it's a cannon plus one wave into a no cannon wave. Well, if this was like here Brand can stay, right, and thin out the wave, and this wave will crash if it's unattended. But Brand is right here, you know. If I'm Brand here, I stay. I make sure that this wave doesn't collapse into the turret, and then I just match recall, you know. If this is left unattended, then sure, this will crash into the turret, like this, right? I'm just telling you the concept of something that will be useful for you regardless. You know, in this case you get away with it, but in other cases maybe not. You know, it's a good rule of thumb to do. Because here Jinx was dead, you could push in, you could get an extra wave for Caitlyn. It just would be the better move, you know, instead of basing. And now they're hard shoving. You bought a ruby crystal. Freezing waves I learned while playing ADC, luckily. Okay, cool. Here usually Kha'Zix should follow you into the river so you can take the aggressive path. Here Brand forces you to take a worse rotation. Well, that's completely fine. Your eye for being in mid and clearing the vision, the timing was good, and the timing on bottom was also good. So that's positive. Usually this is something that silver players struggle with. You seem a tad bit better than silver, if I'm gonna be honest. Here, Brand flashed on his location. Good all-in. Good dodge as well on the ult. Nothing to complain about. Caitlyn a bit of a silly goose, but that has nothing to do with you, right? Here I would most likely prefer if you help her with the wave. You can just mark them all with E, and then you can just last at the cannon, and it'll be faster. Your tempo is a bit more important than Kelly's tempo, but here, yeah, you end up pushing anyway. Because instead you guys can push right away and you both can base earlier. Small thing. You cannot buy support item. You cannot buy support item and jungle item. You're just not allowed to buy both. Okay, let's take a look at your decision now. You're hovering, going into bottom side. So this is a good time for you to go straight through mid. Just straight through mid. And then you are in line with this wave. And then you can contest on that wave, and then you can take a sharp turn. Because if you go straight into mid, you'll be active faster. Because the distance to mid is just the shortest distance that you can take on the map. Good moves. Good moves. It's working. Okay. This game is pretty over. Jinx left the game. You guys scored an ace. I knew they were likely on Drake, so I went there instead to see what was happening. That's fine. Because usually, if I'm playing from your perspective, what I would be worried about is like dying here, you know. Like you guys aced him. It's just odd to me to see like Graves doing Raptors and then these two bros doing doing the Drake. It's just very strange. Here my judgment would be that they are 3 men on Drake, you know? And then I would want to come from this angle, you know? Just because you have this pink here. Because here there is some sense of face checking. And if there's a small risk of them camping on you, then they maybe kill you, you know? That's why I wanted you to take this path into the Drake. But this is very odd. Very strange. It works. It's more about, you know, since this game is over very quick, it's all about just building good habits, you know? The habits that will always be correct. Of course, you have to follow your hunch sometimes, and you have to just go to a space, and you can go for it. Yeah, most of the time, I'm not a big fan of hitting the turret as a support. You should only hit the tower if you're looking to dive the brand. If you don't want to hit the tower, it's better that you hide, because you hiding impacts the whole map, and you hitting the turret doesn't do that much damage, right? So it's just better for you to be either, if you want to hit the turret, you need to be ready to dive, which in this case you could have dove, right? The brand, you can one-shot him easily. You have heal on Kate, and you would be healthy. You would get, of course, you would have your aftershock. You would have a lot of tools. It would definitely be an easy way to go for it. But Caitlyn soloed her, so that works too. I didn't see she has finished Stormraze. I thought she only had BF. Didn't realize she based. Okay. Here the same way. Just look to dive the Jinx. Don't let her chill around. You can easily one-shot her, and in some cases even good to trade 1-for-1. Okay. I like how this Caitlyn is just getting kills with Qs. Whoosh. Something you can consider as well, especially when you have Moby boots. When you see the top lane matchup is something like Riven against Pantheon. If one player gets a kill here, then you can easily sway the whole game. Looking for plays where you go straight through top. The moment you get Moby boots, they are completely viable. That's why pushing in the wave completely is so important, because you actually buy yourself time So I talked about the wave earlier. If you make the wave crash and then you base, and then they are building a wave, if you don't show, most players in silver are not gonna dive you on bot, right? They're not gonna dive here, as long as you don't show. So after Caitlyn cleared that wave that is coming, then you go for the gank. And then that moment you go for that gank, the enemy bot lane is going to panic, because Pantheon is gonna be like, oh my goodness, what's happening? Enemy bot lane, Caitlyn 1v2, what the fuck? While you're killing Pantheon, you know? And then they're gonna panic, they're gonna push anyway, and then you'll just stroll down into bottom. Same thing works for mid lane, right? Keep in mind that support can be used to win other lanes than just bottom. And that idea in itself can be huge, because a lot of AD carries are gonna drag you down, right? And those AD carries, it's important in those moments that you don't let them drag you down, because in this game you have a Riven top, Pantheon. In this case, Jarvan got some kill stop, so it worked, and Pantheon died over and over. So this is the biggest difference maker, right? Bottom was kind of whatever this game, right? Jinx and Brand were winning, but eventually they got ganked by Jarvan, and it didn't make a difference. If you look at the team compositions here, the things that are going to decide the game is definitely Pantheon, Riven, and then Kha'Zix Aurelion Sol is kind of weird, but I guess to some degree, if Kha'Zix is ahead here, he's going to just one-shot Aurelion Sol over and over. So the moment you see the team composition being played out like this, you should look to find ways to get out of lane, you know? You get out of lane. And then you look to impact this, you look to impact this, because Caitlyn's not going to carry this game. If Aurelion Sol and Pantheon are ahead, Caitlyn's gonna not have an easy time. And sure, Caitlyn can carry, she's long range, but it's just about you come into the game and you recognize your role, you know, and then recognize that this role might change. For example, some games you notice that your Riven is behind and she's going to continue to get snowballed on. Maybe you can break that somehow. Or in this game, Caitlyn was not playing so well, she was taking a lot of poke. How can you still find impact? Attach yourself to the things that are strong. It's the same way jungle works, right? Jungle is a role where you want to excel, or you want to highlight the strengths of your team. You want to make sure that the right things snowball, and you put emphasis on the point that allows you to snowball the easiest. And the same way support works. It's all about just getting your mind outside of the box that is bot lane, because that's where a support begins to become OP. And ideally, you win bot lane, and when you're pushing, you impact mid, and then you impact the whole map, right? So of course, if you can win bottom, it's good. Yeah, definitely. Like you're doing some things that most supers don't do, right? Like you're clearly better than the brand player here, and you're playing the right champion, Leona. So you're on a good path. You're on a good path. I think that the best thing that you can walk away from this with is just analyzing game state and recognizing if your support, your AD carry is a bit of a wanker or not. Cutie Crazy says, I don't really care about League anymore, I just want to say you keep doing what you're doing because you're awesome. Thank you very much. It's nice of you. It's a good dive. Caitlyn trolled her trap. You walk away at the right time as well. Your business is done. And the enemy keeps inting. Kha'Zix is monster fed. Okay, Spectre Wolf, tell me, do you have any more questions? How can I help you more? You should also keep in mind that Locket of Iron Solari was very bad. It's a very shit item. As you can see, the shield is very small. It's a shield that decays, and it shields for 182 at this point in time. So it's a very terrible item. It gives you MR, and that's about it. So you should look to get Gargoyle Stoneplate. It's very, very powerful, and you should definitely buy it. Get in the habit of using it, and it's synergized with Aftershock. Very OP. It's very, very OP. Your mid-game decision making, you know, it is hard to so Nice Vow first instead. No, just go Stoneplate. Go Stoneplate. Stoneplate is just very OP. Just rush Stoneplate. Gargoyle Stoneplate. Nice Vow is a terrible item. Nice Vow is a terrible item. Solari is a terrible item. Zeke's conversion is acceptable. Let's take a look at your decisions in mid game. So here you went into top. It was a good move. Like here I would also go top. I like this decision. Mid, your AD carry is not threatened at all by the enemy champs. They're all ranged, and if Kate is not running it down, then it's good. Hovering here in case someone defends top tower, also correct. Your ward placement is also... this one maybe you don't need to do. This one you could commit. This dive is also clean, good. You should just look to recall. You're a walking ward at this point, so just look to recall. This ward I like as well, it's decent. I like this one a lot. I think it's correct to just base. You've been sticking around for long. Keep in mind, if you're not ready to fight, it's basically you know, it's basically the same as if you're dead. Solari scales with the maximum HP. That's why you go Gargoyle Stoneplate and then maybe Solari afterwards, because you get those items synergize, right? You use Stoneplate and then you use Locket, and then it heals based off of your HP. This is a good kill steal, I respect it. And then in terms of your mid-game decision making, this is as far as it goes, right? When playing suppos, do you prioritize the chain vest, stopwatch? Usually most lane matchups allow you to go stopwatch in runes. In this particular lane matchups, I would go Hex Flash. You would go Hex Flash. And then I think you can buy one Ruby Crystal, for example. In some lanes you want to have Chain Vest, no Magic Mantle. You just buy it depending on what you can slot as items, you know? So no need to complicate it too much. I need to learn how to play with Hex Flash. It's just straightforward. You just need to get into the practice tool, use practice tool, and abuse it. Because especially in silver, you're going to be crazy good with it. If you learn how to Hex Flash, you're gonna get to gold, no problem. No problem at all. This is Hex Flash is the way, definitely. Ward on lane. Good habit to ward on lane, I like it. Caitlyn eating every ult in the game but surviving. You guys are 16k gold ahead in 17 minutes. This is brutal, man. Very brutal. Wow, Kha'Zix's double jumping in silver. Good for him, good for him. I really like your educational content. It helped me improve my game knowledge. I'm really close to Masters and I definitely want to see how high I can get. Thank you very much, Primo top lane. All the best. Righteous Glory is a dangerous item to buy because it's so expensive. Like the recipe is very expensive. And your gold generation definitely slows down. While it can be a good game, a good item, So this game, Spectre Wolf, it leaves very little room for exploration because Caitlyn was a massive anchor for you. It was indeed a nice game. I don't know if all silver games look like this. Caitlyn's gonna die. Okay. So now we check your op.gg. I think most of the time you should look to get yourself Moby Boots as soon as possible. Moby Boots is a very big power spike. And together with Moby Boots, you can look to impact top lane, you can look to impact bottom, you can look to impact mid lane, ping people a lot, also works in silver, you know. Call your teammates to group if they begin to fall behind, rally them, because that's a very easy way of coming back, just staying together and pressing your ultimates. I noticed also on your op.gg you're playing way too many different things. You're playing every single role. You play one Urgot game, one Pike, one Tristana, one set, 0-8. You know, this is you're wasting a lot of games. And I see that you can't really decide what if you want to play support or AD carry. I think you should make an educated choice, my friend, and stick to as few champions as possible. You should look to, for example, here you have Nautilus, Leona. That's a good base right there. That's a very good base. I think I would stay away from Braum. It requires. Soup just feels right to me, but it's hard to climb with it. So you said yourself, right? Most games are very snowbally. Supports can easily create a snowball. You can easily create a snowball. You just have to recognize who's the enter on the enemy team and who's the best player on your team, you know, in terms of what champion he plays. And then I really suggest that you cheese more. Cheese. So basically you sit in bushes level 1 and just cheese. Like you cheese level 1, get an advantage, use Hex Flash, and then rush Moby Boots always. Just get Moby Boots and then look to sometimes maybe you can roam into top all the way. Sometimes you can roam into mid lane, right? And also pay attention when people use summoners, right? If for example Aurelion Sol uses Flash, then he can be your target, you know? He can be your target. A good way to become better is to create mini objectives for yourself, you know? Create mini objectives for yourself in the game. Like, if you say every game is very snowbally, okay, how can you create a snowball the easiest way? Okay, Leona, not the strongest lane, maybe you can look elsewhere. Okay, I need to find opportunities to roam. Okay, I can roam when I get Moby Boots. And then you are always very active in your thinking. Because this is the most important thing to learn for lower ranked players, is to have active thinking process. Active thinking process meaning setting up a goal for yourself that is smaller than breaking the nexus, but all of the small steps that gets you there. And games tend to be very snowbally. How can you create a snowball? You know, sometimes your AD carry is not going to be reliable. So here, if it wasn't for how easy this game was, Yeah. It's not necessarily like if lane is lost. It's like if lane can't be won. You know? You need to find value. That's the big thing. You need to find value. If you play a lane to be even, most of the time that's not going to be able to be enough for you to win games. You need to find value. It's about recognizing it ahead of time. For example, if you're playing LeonaCannon, it's not the best lane. So if you are already in Champion Select knowing that, oh, this is not the best lane, maybe we can find some all-ins. I don't think Caitlyn's going to be able to trap on my combo. So already from the get-go, you know, you can start to think outside the box, you know? So it's not necessarily like, oh, we gave away 2 kills, now I have to give up on my lane, you know? And then keep in mind the Gargle Stone Plate buy. Like everyone goes Gargle Stone Plate. Like let me just show you. I would say get Mobies and look to roam with your jungler, but sometimes your jungler is also a nitwit, you know? It happens. Okay, so as you can see, everyone buys Gargle Stone Plate. Gargle Stone Plate, Gargle Stone Plate. This guy didn't buy Gargle Stone Plate because he's boosted. So because the game was so short, I'll have a discount for future game. Okay, if you want another game, I can make it 50. Also, if you have any more questions, you can always ask me. Okay? You have a special place in my heart. Are you currently reviewing Obi.GG's? I was helping or coaching Spectre Wolf, and we were talking about some Leona gameplay.